Hey guys, great to see you. These are 27 fads that started as a joke and somehow became everyone's personality.
America has a talent for losing its mind in unison and calling it a trend. 1. Pet rocks, 1975. Ah yes, the era when people willingly paid money for gravel. In 1975, a man named Gary Dahl convinced millions that owning a pet rock was the ultimate low-maintenance companion. It came in a cardboard box with breathing holes and a 32-page manual teaching you how to train it to sit and stay. And the best part? It worked. Americans lined up to adopt smooth pebbles from Mexico. Each one sold for $3.95, about $20 today. It was the perfect product. It did nothing, cost almost nothing to make, and made its creator a millionaire. Only in the 70s could you walk into a store, buy a rock, and feel like part of a cultural movement. Forget NFTs. This was the original "you bought what" craze. 2. The Cabbage Patch Kid riots, 1983. You think Black Friday is bad? Try 1983 when parents turned into gladiators over fabric dolls with potato faces. Cabbage Patch Kids weren't just toys, they were emotional hostages. Each came with its own adoption certificate, which somehow made people feel like they were rescuing orphans from a polyester farm. Department stores turned into war zones. Grown adults threw punches, broke ribs, and tackled strangers to secure one for Christmas. Police had to intervene in multiple states over dolls. The irony? They weren't even limited edition. Millions more shipped weeks later. It was the first time America collectively realized that supply and demand hysteria could destroy both wallets and moral dignity. Today, it's NFTs and iPhones. Back then, it was baby-faced chaos with yarn hair. 3. The mood ring mania, 1970s. Nothing screams "I'm mysterious" like a ring that tells everyone you're just sweaty. In the mid-70s, mood rings became the must-have item for people who wanted science but got thermodynamics instead. Marketed as emotional barometers, they supposedly changed color based on your feelings. In reality, they reacted to body heat, meaning your romantic passion might just be mild dehydration. Teenagers swore by them, adults claimed spiritual insight, and jewelers laughed all the way to the bank. It was astrology you could wear, pseudoscience disguised as fashion. And yet, somehow, it worked. Millions were sold. Because nothing says deep introspection like a piece of plastic whispering, you're stressed because you live in the 70s. 4. The Tamagotchi takeover, 1997. In the late 90s, millions of kids willingly adopted the most demanding digital creatures ever made, Tamagotchis. Tiny egg-shaped devices that beeped at random hours, forcing children to feed, clean, and comfort what was essentially a pixelated dot. If you ignored it, it died, instantly. No second chances, no undo button. Classrooms across America were filled with the desperate beeping of dying virtual pets, leading teachers to ban them like they were illegal substances. Parents weren't spared either. Many found themselves secretly babysitting their kids' Tamagotchi just to prevent digital extinction. It was the first time technology guilt-tripped an entire generation into parental responsibility. Ironically, these same kids now have actual children who get ignored because mom's phone needs feeding. The Tamagotchi era was a lesson in emotional manipulation disguised as entertainment. Who knew a 2-inch piece of plastic could trigger more anxiety than a mortgage payment? 5. The hula hoop epidemic, 1958. Before TikTok dance challenges, America had the hula hoop. It was innocent at first, a simple plastic ring. Then it turned into a national obsession. Kids spun them in driveways, adults joined competitions, and companies struggled to keep up with demand. Over 100 million hoops were sold in 6 months. Streets were littered with discarded rings like neon halos of broken dreams. Chiropractors made a fortune, and suburban parents discovered new ways to injure their pride. The craze even spread worldwide. Japan banned them for being indecent, which only made Americans love them more. Wham-O, the toy company behind it, accidentally became a cultural empire. They proved you could make millions selling air trapped in a circle. And honestly, that's basically Silicon Valley's business model now. 6. The Beanie Baby bubble, 1990s. If Wall Street had stuffed animals, they'd look exactly like Beanie Babies. These plush toys were the unofficial stock market of the 90s. Cute, pointless, and completely insane. People weren't buying them for fun. They were buying investments. Grown adults tracked price charts, sealed the toys in plastic containers, and spoke in hushed tones about limited editions. At its peak, one rare bear named Princess sold for thousands of dollars on eBay, the stock exchange of delusion. Then the bubble popped. Overnight, fortunes vanished. The same people who once bragged about their portfolio of plush animals now had basements full of worthless bean-stuffed regrets. The Beanie Baby era was America's first lesson in speculative mania. Before crypto, before NFTs, there were floppy little animals teaching us that greed, like polyester, never truly biodegrades. 7. The Disco Sucks Backlash, 1979. Few cultural movements have crashed harder than disco, and it literally exploded. In 1979, Chicago's Disco Demolition Night invited fans to destroy disco records in a baseball stadium. Over 50,000 people showed up with vinyl, rage, and questionable priorities. What was supposed to be a quirky promotion turned into a full-blown riot. Records were blown up on the field, fans stormed the diamond, and chaos followed. The anti-disco crowd claimed it was rebellion against commercial pop. But let's be honest, it was just drunk people burning Bee Gees albums. The irony? Disco never really died. Its DNA lives in every modern dance beat, every club track, every awkward wedding playlist. The event was meant to kill a genre. Instead, it just gave it immortality and a very loud obituary. 8. The Cinnamon Challenge, 2010s. And then came the internet's finest hour. The era of people snorting, inhaling, and choking on powdered spice for views. The Cinnamon Challenge was the perfect storm of stupidity and curiosity. Can you swallow a spoonful of cinnamon without dying? Spoiler, no, you can't. Hospitals reported spikes in cases of choking, coughing fits, and cinnamon-coated regret. Yet everyone kept trying it, convinced they'd be the chosen one who wouldn't turn into a human chimney. Parents panicked, schools banned cinnamon, and doctors sighed heavily into their coffee. The internet made danger look like a fun hobby, and millions said, "Yeah, I'll try that." The challenge perfectly captured a modern truth. We'd rather nearly suffocate for 5 seconds of fame than read a warning label. Evolution didn't stop. It just started filming itself. 9. The Segway Revolution That Wasn't, 2001. When the Segway debuted, inventors promised it would change the world. They said cities would be redesigned, walking would become obsolete, and humanity would glide into the future. Spoiler, we didn't. The Segway became the official vehicle of mall cops and overconfident tourists. It looked like something out of the Jetsons, operated like a Roomba with anxiety, and cost as much as a used car. People tried commuting with them, only to discover sidewalks, curbs, and stairs still exist. Even the company's owner tragically died in a Segway accident, poetic irony at its most brutal. Eventually, the world moved on, and the Segway became a cautionary tale about tech hype. Every time you see a billionaire promising to revolutionize transportation, remember, we already tried that once, and it ended with helmets and humiliation. 10. The Ice Bucket Challenge, 2014. Finally, a viral trend that did some good. The Ice Bucket Challenge took over the internet as people dumped freezing water on themselves to raise awareness and cash for ALS research. For once, social media wasn't about narcissism. It was about charity and narcissism combined. Everyone from your grandma to Bill Gates got drenched, and millions actually donated. Sure, a few folks used warm water or filmed themselves screaming like they'd been shot, but it worked. It raised over $200 million. It proved people will suffer mild hypothermia if it means getting likes and saving lives. The trend eventually faded, but the funding made real breakthroughs in ALS treatment possible. So yes, humanity embarrassed itself for a noble cause, a rare and beautiful moment when stupidity met purpose and somehow won. 11. The oxygen bar craze, 1990s. Remember when people started paying for something literally all around them? Oxygen bars popped up in malls and nightclubs selling flavored air for $1 a minute. Customers sat with tubes up their noses, inhaling peppermint or bubblegum-scented O2 while pretending it made them more energized. Science, of course, disagreed. The only thing it actually refreshed was the owner's bank account, but it looked futuristic, and that was enough. It became the wellness version of bottled water, charging for the free stuff you already have. Even celebrities jumped on board, proving that common sense has no tax bracket. The bars eventually vanished, but the legacy lives on every time someone sells detox water or ionized air purifiers. It's the perfect reminder that if you market nothing with confidence, people will breathe it in willingly, literally. 12. The Crocs takeover, 2000s. Crocs started as boating shoes. Then somehow they became fashion icons. The foam clogs that looked like garden tools escaped their intended habitat and invaded schools, offices, and even red carpets. At first, everyone mocked them, rubber clown shoes for adults. But Crocs did the impossible. They made ugly cool. Comfort triumphed over dignity. Nurses, chefs, and dads everywhere declared victory over style. Then came celebrity collaborations. Post Malone wore them, Balenciaga made high-heeled versions, and suddenly the world collectively shrugged and said, "Fine." Crocs are now the footwear equivalent of a guilty pleasure, mocked publicly, worshipped privately. They're proof that humans will embrace anything if it's easy to clean and looks good with socks. 13. The planking craze, 2011. For a brief, glorious moment, humanity decided that lying face down on random objects was peak comedy. Planking, the art of stiffly posing like a wooden board, took over the internet. People planked on desks, cars, grocery shelves, even moving escalators. It started as a harmless joke and quickly turned into an Olympic event for stupidity. News anchors did it, CEOs did it, and somewhere, your uncle probably tried it and threw his back out. The best part? Nobody really knew why it was funny. It just was. Until, inevitably, someone planked in a dangerous place and ruined it for everyone. The fad died faster than it started, leaving behind thousands of awkward photos and one universal truth. Boredom plus Wi-Fi is the deadliest combination known to man. 14. The Pole Sitting Challenge, 1920s. Before TikTok, before YouTube, people in the 1920s found other ways to seek attention, like sitting on poles for weeks. Flagpole sitting became the ultimate endurance stunt, where contestants perched on tall poles for fame, money, or sheer masochism. One man, Alvin "Shipwreck" Kelly, became a national celebrity for sitting 49 days straight. Newspapers covered it daily like it was the Olympics of doing nothing. Crowds gathered to watch a man continue sitting. Sponsors cashed in, sending food up by rope like it was fine dining in the sky. Eventually, the Great Depression ended the craze. It's hard to cheer for someone refusing to come down when half the country can't get up. It was the original influencer stunt, pointless, dangerous, and somehow still impressive. 15. The Pet Fashion Explosion, 2000s. Somewhere between Paris Hilton's Chihuahua and Instagram, America collectively lost its mind dressing animals like runway models. Pet boutiques exploded, selling rhinestone collars, tutus, and tiny hoodies that cost more than human clothes. Dogs strutted down paw-shy in runways, and cats glared at their owners in silent protest. Companies even made Halloween costumes for iguanas. The logic? If it has legs, it needs sequins. Entire industries formed around canine couture, proving two things: disposable income and guilt are powerful motivators. The pets didn't care, of course. They just wanted snacks. But humans, desperate to feel extra, projected Fashion Week onto their labradoodles. It's the only trend where everyone looks ridiculous. The pets for wearing it, and the humans for paying $80 for a dog-sized bomber jacket. 16. The Pokemon Go Frenzy, 2016. In 2016, America became one giant scavenger hunt. Strangers roamed the streets, phones out, chasing invisible creatures that only existed in an app. Pokemon Go turned malls, cemeteries, and police stations into unofficial gaming arenas. Suddenly, introverts were outdoors, and joggers had company, confused people walking into trees trying to catch a digital Charizard. Cities had to post signs like "No Pokemon beyond this point," as if reality itself needed new zoning laws. Car crashes spiked, trespassing incidents soared, and one guy famously caught a rare Pokemon during his wife's labor. The world briefly united in collective absurdity, proving that augmented reality is just regular reality with fewer boundaries and more sprained ankles. It was the first time technology didn't separate people. It brought them together to walk into lampposts as a team. 17. The Selfie Stick Invasion, 2014. Somewhere between vanity and engineering, humanity invented the selfie stick, a device to help us take better pictures of ourselves because asking another human was too much effort. Within months, they were everywhere. Concerts, museums, weddings, even funerals. Tourists turned into jousting nights, wielding aluminum rods of narcissism. Disney parks banned them, sports stadiums banned them, and even the Vatican museums had to issue a "please stop hitting each other" statement. The irony? The stick didn't even make photos better. It just made every crowd shot look like a robot uprising. But people loved them anyway, because nothing says progress like turning your phone into a broomstick of self-absorption. It was the perfect 21st century invention. Unnecessary, overused, and deeply symbolic of everything wrong and wonderful about modern humanity. 18. The Y2K Panic, 1999 to 2000. New Year's Eve, 1999. While the world partied to Prince's 1999, tech experts were losing their minds. The fear? That computers would think 00 meant 1900 and civilization would implode. Planes would fall, banks would crash, toasters might declare war. People stockpiled canned beans like they were currency. Governments spent billions rewriting code. Then midnight hit, and nothing happened. Your microwave still worked, your bank balance didn't vanish, and your car didn't join the robot uprising. Humanity had collectively prepared for the apocalypse and got a minor software patch instead. The Y2K panic remains the funniest global false alarm ever. The night we proved we could unite across nations, cultures, and time zones to panic about absolutely nothing, then wake up and go to brunch. 19. The Juice Cleanse Craze, 2010s. The 2010s were the decade everyone decided solid food was optional. The juice cleanse promised detox, enlightenment, and abs like a Greek statue, all by drinking liquefied kale. Health influencers swore by it, celebrities flaunted it, and refrigerators became altars to cold-pressed suffering. What they didn't mention was that most people spent day 3 hallucinating about cheeseburgers. The cleanse didn't remove toxins, it just removed your will to live. Doctors rolled their eyes, dietitians begged for sanity, and juice companies cashed in, selling $12 bottles of celery-flavored despair. It was a religion disguised as a lifestyle, where penance came in liquid form. By the end, everyone learned a vital truth. If your diet leaves you too weak to argue about it online, it's probably not enlightenment. It's dehydration. 20. The Fidget Spinner Epidemic, 2017. It started as a stress relief toy and ended as a national distraction. Fidget spinners were the tiny plastic devices that hypnotized an entire generation. Kids spun them, adults spun them, and teachers banned them faster than they could say, "focus tool." You couldn't escape them. Grocery aisles, gas stations, even dentist offices sold the whirling menaces. People claimed they cured anxiety, ADHD, and boredom. In reality, they just gave everyone something to stare at while pretending to listen. Within 6 months, the craze collapsed, leaving landfills full of forgotten spinners, relics of humanity's attention span problem made physical. For a brief, shiny moment, we were all united, not in mindfulness, but in the universal joy of spinning useless objects while ignoring our responsibilities. 21. The Tide Pod Challenge, 2018. Ah yes, the internet's darkest hour, the year people decided laundry detergent looked delicious. The Tide Pod Challenge started as a meme and escalated into an actual emergency when teens began biting into pods for likes. Poison control centers were flooded, companies begged humanity to stop eating soap, and even politicians had to issue statements reminding voters not to consume cleaning products. It was the perfect modern disaster, viral stupidity wrapped in colorful packaging. Procter & Gamble had to release safety PSAs that sounded like satire. And while most people didn't actually eat them, the fact that anyone did was enough to confirm what scientists have suspected for decades. Natural selection now has Wi-Fi. It was less of a trend and more of a collective IQ test we mostly failed. 22. The Harlem Shake Outbreak, 2013. For one glorious month in 2013, humanity lost all sense of rhythm. and dignity. The Harlem Shake meme started with a lone dancer bobbing awkwardly before cutting to absolute chaos. Office workers flailing in costumes, pets spinning on chairs, and grandmas breakdancing in slow motion. Every office, dorm, and fire department made a version. Even the military joined in, which must have been confusing for foreign intelligence. It was a global epidemic of absurdity. Millions of people doing synchronized nonsense to 30 seconds a base. Nobody knew why it was funny. It just was. And like all good memes, it vanished overnight, leaving behind thousands of YouTube uploads and one collective memory of a time when the world agreed to stop taking itself seriously for just a minute. Literally. 23. The Pet Rock 2.0 Fidget Cubes, 2016. After Fidget Spinners came their boxy cousins, Fidget Cubes. Each side featured buttons, switches, or dials for restless fingers, basically a toy for people too nervous to meditate and too busy to sit still. Kickstarter campaigns raised millions as adults everywhere justified playing with glorified desk gadgets as stress relief. Offices buzzed with the sound of clicking, tapping, and managers pretending they weren't judging. Like most fads, they promised productivity but delivered distraction. Within months, drawers were full of abandoned cubes next to forgotten vision boards and gym memberships. Still, they captured something deeply American, our constant need to buy gadgets to fix problems that gadgets created. It was mindfulness through microplastic, and for a brief moment, we all believed serenity could be bought with free shipping. 24. The Ice Cream Licking Challenge, 2019. Just when society thought it had learned from Tide Pods, the internet said, "Hold my ice cream." The challenge involved opening tubs of ice cream in stores, licking the top, and putting them back. Yes, really. It spread like a dairy-based plague across social media. Grocery stores installed extra cameras, brands sealed their tubs, and humanity lost another collective IQ point. Police even made arrests because, apparently, ice cream tampering counts as a federal offense. The perpetrators claimed it was a joke. The rest of us called it biological warfare. It was proof that clout chasing had officially jumped the freezer aisle. The saddest part? Nobody remembers the trend's origin, only that a few seconds of viral fame melted faster than the evidence. 25. The No Mirror Movement, 2021. In the age of selfies, a counter-trend emerged. People swore off mirrors entirely to reclaim authenticity. The logic: mirrors make us self-critical, so ditch them for inner peace. It sounded noble, until influencers started vlogging about it with perfect lighting and invisible ring lights. The no-mirror lifestyle quickly became another excuse for content. People filmed morning routines explaining how not looking at their reflection transformed their soul, while still checking their phone camera every 5 minutes. Gyms reported a 30% increase in people accidentally walking into equipment, and hair salons became battlegrounds of trust. The movement proved two things: humans crave attention even when pretending not to, and no trend is too self-contradictory to trend harder. 26. The Adult Coloring Book Craze, 2015. When stress hit peak levels, adults did what children had known all along. They started coloring again. Bookstores turned into art therapy zones overnight. Grown-ups flocked to buy intricate coloring books with titles like Zen Mandalas for burnt-out millennials. Suddenly, offices were filled with highlighters and scented pencils. Therapists approved, marketers rejoiced, and for a while it felt like collective healing. But the magic faded once people realized coloring inside the lines didn't actually fix existential dread. Still, it was beautiful while it lasted, a world united by crayons and nostalgia. If only taxes came with a coloring option, maybe we'd all be a little calmer. 27. The Air Fryer Obsession, 2020s. Few appliances have caused such domestic devotion as the air fryer. It turned average citizens into culinary evangelists overnight. Every dinner conversation became a sermon. You can make anything in an air fryer, followed by photos of slightly overcooked chicken. During lockdowns, it was the closest thing people had to magic. French fries without guilt, bacon without grease, joy without flavor. Social media turned into a shrine of recipes that were 90% identical. It wasn't about cooking, it was about hope. A symbol that maybe, just maybe, technology could make adulthood easier. The irony? A year later, most air fryers joined their dusty brethren, bread makers, juicers, and George Foreman grills, in the cupboard of forgotten dreams. And there you have it. 27 times America collectively said, "This seems like a good idea," and immediately proved it wasn't. From rocks with adoption papers to digital monsters that beep at 3 a.m., these fads defined our weird genius as a species. Which one deserves to make a comeback? Or be erased from history? Tell me in the comments, preferably before someone turns it into the next viral challenge.